Welcome back. In this series, we're exploring our God who provides. Last week, we looked at how God provided food, both in a physical famine and a spiritual famine. I also pointed out how both readings were not only connected by the provision of food, but by the presence of water. This week, we're looking at how God has provided hydration, something to drink. Let's begin by reading Exodus chapter 15, verses 22 to 26. Moses led Israel from the Red Sea on to the wilderness of Shur. They travelled for 3 days through the wilderness without finding any water. They got to Marah, but they couldn't drink the water at Marah. It was bitter. That's why they called the place Marah, or bitter. The people complained to Moses, "So, what are we supposed to drink?" So Moses cried out in prayer to God. God pointed him to a stick of wood. Moses threw it into the water, and the water turned sweet. That's the place where God set up rules and procedures. That's where he started testing them. God said, "If you listen obediently to how God tells you to live in his presence, obeying his commandments and keeping all his laws, then I won't strike you off with all the diseases I inflicted on the Egyptians. I am God, your healer." Isn't it incredible how God enabled Moses to turn the water in a flowing stream from bitter salt water to sweet fresh water, capable of satisfying the thirst of a nation, using only a tree branch? Some would say it was magic. I believe it was a miracle. And yes, there is a difference. A link back to the last series. Did you notice the name of the waters that were transformed from bitter to sweet? They were called Marah, meaning bitter. Do you remember what Naomi said she should be called when she first returned to Bethlehem? She said, "Call me Mara." The Israelites witnessed the transformation of bitter water to sweet water as they started the journey to the Promised Land. And Naomi experienced the transformation of her attitude to God from bitter to sweet as she journeyed spiritually to the place where she could be used by God in raising Obed, her grandson. Did you notice the last words in this passage? "I am the Lord who heals you," or "I am God, your healer." Was God saying that if we obey him completely, as Moses did by throwing the branch into the water, then he will heal us in the same way he healed the water? On another occasion, God instructed Moses to speak water from a rock. You can find out what happened by looking up Numbers 20, verses 2 to 13. But now, let's read the Gospel account of when Jesus did something very similar in John chapter 2, verses 1 to 12. 3 days later, there was a wedding in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there. Jesus and his disciples were guests also. When they started running low on wine at the wedding banquet, his mother told him, "They're just about out of wine." Jesus said, "Is that any of our business, Mother? Yours or mine? This isn't my time. Don't push me." She went ahead anyway, telling the servants, "Whatever he tells you, do it." 6 stone water pots were there, used by the Jews for ritual washing. Each held 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus ordered the servants, "Fill those pots with water." And they filled them to the brim. "Now, fill your pitchers and take them to the host," Jesus said. And they did. When the host tasted the water that had become wine, he didn't know what had just happened. But the servants, of course, knew. He called out to the bridegroom, "Everybody I know begins with their finest wines, and after the guests have had their fill, brings out the cheap stuff. But you've saved the best till now." This act in Cana of Galilee was the first sign Jesus gave, the first glimpse of his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum, along with his mother, brothers, and disciples, and stayed there several days. Here we have another account of water transformed. This time, it's not the transformation of undrinkable to drinkable, but from normal to extraordinary, in the best sense of the word. I have often heard it taught that when Jesus transformed the water into wine, he was implying how much better things will be on his wedding day compared to a normal wedding day. If you look at this reading together with the one about the waters of Marah, I wonder if this interpretation is all there is to see. God blessed the people by taking what they already had and making it fit for purpose. With Moses, he took the bitter water and a branch. In Cana, he took well water and some stone jars. In both cases, he provided more than was needed in a simple way that only asked for obedience. Have you noticed how often God provides for our needs with more than enough left over so that we can share the blessing, providing for the needs of others? Beside Marah, everyone knew what had happened, compared to in Canaan, where only a few knew. Did the people in Marah rejoice when they tasted the transformed water? How many doubted and waited to see what others said before risking a sip themselves? One thing is certain, at the wedding, everyone enjoyed the new wine, drinking without fear of a bad taste. Next week, we'll look at something different God did with water to show how he provides for us in new ways. Remember to like, comment, and share the truth of the Bible as widely as possible. I'll see you next time. God bless you.